Hey.
Hey. Guess what we did? Guess what we did? Guess what we did?
What we do?
We made it.
Oh, yeah,
I
we
can't
made it.
believe
Another
we
week.
made it through another week. Yes, we did. We are still here. Give yourself a round of applause. Where's that applause button at? Yes. I mean, we made it through another weird presidential debate, whatever that was going on. Donald Trump said he did the most for
Black
people, and he is like Abraham Lincoln. Whatever you choosing to vote, because ain't nobody trying to tell you how to vote. I'm the last person to tell you that. But we made it through another week, so give yourself. So now we got Mimi and Louise here, and last week Mimi and Louise, they was going through it. They need their own reality show. Holla if you heard. How are you feeling today, guys? What's going on? All right. I'm going to just go with that. And then as the show progresses, we're going to see if they unroll like an onion and gossip about why they playing, because that's what we do. But before we do that, let me just take them out of the frame. This is serious, guys. Okay. On a serious note. I don't know if you're in New York. I don't know where you are. But we are moving into, I'm always talking about something we moving into, right? When are we just going to move into it?
When are we going to be
when are we just going to move into it? I'm getting on my own nerves. Goodness gracious. You know what? We're not moving into nothing. What we're going to move into is some playing. That's what we need in our lives.
What happened to
No,
our
I'm not
message?
doing it. I'm not giving no lessons
Give the
today.
message.
No, I'll do it later, because you know what? We're not moving into nothing. We're moving into playing. We're moving into every day. We're moving into something. Okay? All right?
Where's the word?
The word of the day is listen to Mimi Jones and Louise, because I ain't got nothing else to say. All right, bye.
guys for listening in. We are the MLK Show. You're listening to Luis Perdomo and myself, Mimi Jones. We chose that song, Woody and You, because this week features birthdays like the great Dizzy Gillespie. So Dizzy wrote that for the world, and that's a pretty famous tune.
Yeah.
But I feel pretty rusty on it because I haven't done it. It took me a minute. I had to look at the changes for a second.
You got Coley chops.
Yeah. That's what that's
Quarantine chops.
Yes.
That sounds good.
Well, doing
I'm
the best.
fasting, so.
You what?
I said I'm fasting, so quarantine chops.
Oh, like it's food? Yeah, that's not good. No,
That's
that's not. No, you don't want quarantine chops.
Sounds good to me.
So the next tune, do you want to do the Pensativa?
Whatever you want to.
Yeah, let's do that.
Pensativa, okay.
Because who wrote that one?
Clare Fischer.
So I believe that this week features Fischer's birthday as well, right?
No.
Actually, let me read off some birthdays. Because I love the birthdays. And if you guys have a birthday, let us know because it's fun. It's just fun. Happy birthday. I know that Diane Reeves' birthday, I think it's actually today. So happy birthday, Diane. So we've got, and I mean, October just went crazy with the birthdays.
Mm-hmm.
This week we have Robin Eubanks. What's up, Robin? Jimmy Heath. Bless him. We lost him. Was it this year or last year?
A couple of years ago.
Okay. Yeah, time is just a blur to me, but
Yeah, it's just
the legendary
crazy.
Jimmy Heath. Just, Eddie Henderson. Yes. We also have Andy Bay, one of my favorite singers. Zoot Sims, Clifford Brown, Pancho Sanchez, Booker Irving, Illinois Jacquette, Ted Nash. Just so many amazing people. Happy birthday to them.
And yesterday we had a really happy reunion with Miguel Zenon's quartet. We did it over Zoom.
Oh, it's like a birthday.
And we were celebrating Hans Klavishnik's 50th birthday.
Damn, that's an old mofo.
Yeah. So happy
50?
birthday. Yeah, he turned 50. Also, I think Ivan Renta, the great saxophone player from Puerto Rico, his birthday is today. Also, Radonichik, I think.
Happy birthday, Raleigh.
Yeah.
What's up?
So, yeah,
You know what else, though? I read the birthdays of next week. So this week, actually, so I used to play with this great singer from Poland, Ursula Juzek. It's her birthday today. Jane Burnett. What's up, Jane?
Yeah.
Hope you're well in Canada. Lucky you.
Yeah.
Don Bias. We got Fred Hirsch. We love Fred Hirsch.
Oh, yeah.
Eddie
Fred is
Harris.
amazing.
Jelly Roll Morton. Damn, we should have chose a Jelly Roll song.
Yep.
I don't got one of those in my pocket.
Well,
Unless
we
you
probably can't play that.
Oh man, she did a challenge.
I know, yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's not gonna take it either.
Yeah.
Jelly Roll Morton, I bet you he's gonna be like, we got, let me see.
Let's
I
just
need
play
some
it.
glasses.
You know.
Wynton Marsalis, Anita O'Day, dang, beautiful. Bill Stewart, and Esperanza Spalding. Whoop, 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 whoop. So happy birthday, you guys.
Yeah, I want to give a birthday shout out to my cousin, Adrian
Yeah.
Gaston. Go girl, she's only 23.
That's right.
Right.
She would love you for saying that.
There you go. And who else?
Nobody else. Let's play.
Louise is like, let's play, damn it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Too
so
much talk.
this
Let's
one
play.
is featuring a tune called Pensativa, a very beautiful tune written by the great Clare Fischer, featuring Luis Perdomo on a great intro.
play. You know, you guys look like you actually enjoy playing. Do you?
We do, yeah.
Yeah, like you know what? You look pretty miserable 365 days of the year, but when you get on that microphone, boy, you look like a happy individual.
Yeah, yes.
I'm talking to Miriam.
Oh, okay. Well, that's true too.
I love to play.
Yes. Well, we gotta while they're working it out, we have.
We got it together today, don't we?
I don't know. I don't know what you have. I don't know what they have going on over there. We got T on the line. T, you there?
Yes, I am. How everybody doing?
Yo, T, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up, Louise? Hi, Miriam.
Hi, how are you? You know, it's Mimi
Hi,
Jones for the
girl.
show.
Yeah, it's Mimi Jones for the show, T. It's Mimi Jones for the show. So while you guys are working it out and making your way over here, I'm gonna talk to T.
All right.
So T, tell us. Let me turn these people's mic off because they be over there whispering all the time, and they think,
tripping.
and they always think that they're whispering, but they're never whispering. So T, for those of us who are tuning in, life is interesting, and we are talking to Tavario from a correctional facility, right? Right, T?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in the Great Walls of New York.
Yeah, man. So it's really serious when you go. I mean, Miriam and Louise have gone up there before, and it's a serious ride when you go upstate. Like, it just changes everything. I'm sure you guys have been upstate before, but when you go upstate to go to a correctional facility, it's very different than going upstate to see the winter foliage, the fall foliage. And so T, tell us, how's it going? What are you working on? What are you building on in there?
Well, thanks to the help of Miss Keziah Glow, I've been doing a lot of inner work, and my inner work deals with meditating. And meditating brings a lot forward because it brings all the answers that you need and want. They come up. Meditating and fasting, and it's really working for me. Something that I never thought would work for me, because I understand the meditation thing, but it was only for karate, so I never thought it would be, used like this. And it's really helped me, deal with a lot of past locked up things that was deep down inside me that I really didn't know about.
It's deep because I know you read the book, but there were these brothers, I'll tell everybody, called the Dama brothers. And so a family friend who is Iserene, she went to high school. She also went to LaGuardia with Mimi, another bass player. She introduced me to Vipassana. And so that is a certain style of meditation. And there were these brothers who were they were lifers. And they introduced Vipassana into a correctional facility. And I remember when I went to Vipassana, I saw the book and they told me about it and I thought it was interesting. And then when this experience, happened, because who knows, who would ever think this experience would happen? When this experience happened, we started talking about meditation. I think I went to Vipassana, right, T?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went during, you in this conversation too? I went to a meditation retreat during this time. And,
you couldn't talk.
Yeah. So it was like, it's like a situation where you don't talk for about 10 days, and the food is everything is very basic. You sleep in basic quarters, you go out and get in meditation, but you go out and do nature walks. But basically you're meditating for about 10 hours a day when you break down how long it is, because it's broken up into times. And so T, when I first started telling you, you got to meditate, what were you thinking? What was that like for you?
It got on my nerves, seriously. But I, when you were telling me about how I have to meditate, I was like, man, there's no way I'm going to meditate that long. I was like, I'll meditate as long as I can, but I pass out.
Yeah, but the crazy part about it, I will say this, is that when I was done with my first experience of Vipassana, and like there's a hole that you meditate in, and like I literally felt like I was gonna crawl back to the dorm, the room that I was staying in, because so much stuff, and T, you could talk about this, so much stuff comes up when you start meditating and when you start fasting, like memories, and they say you got to let it pass by, or you can journal, and so how you can tell us. We're going to get into something else, but just briefly, T, tell us a little bit about the journaling. Are you doing that? How's that going for you?
Yeah, I'm doing the journaling. The journaling is nerve wracking because I really hate writing.
Me too. Me too.
I'm not that person.
Me too.
But, huh?
I said me too. Me too. I hate it.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I can say is, it works different from everybody. Certain people could write the stuff down and it goes through. And I think just because I hate writing so much, it sticks with me longer, and it's really draining. Like, woo. You think a workout, it takes energy. That right there, oh man. And when it comes up for real.
What? That is no joke. So we are going to take a break from our conversation about journaling and meditating, because Mimi and Luis look like they do not care.
No, I'm listening because I'm terrible at meditating. I cannot sit still. I can't keep it together, to be honest. Like, my back starts hurting. Just want to lie on the floor. Then I'm going to fall asleep. Then I'm just hungry.
T, tell her that's what it is,
just
though.
Rolling around.
That's it. Listen, you know what I used to be like? I'd be like, yo, listen, I'm doing a good job because when you're asleep, you're still meditating. Miss Keziah Glow is like, no, it doesn't work like that. You got to stay up. Well, listen, my butt hurts and I fall out.
Okay,
so I think it's still working.
But you know who's real quiet on this whole thing? Mr. Buddhist Luis, Mr. Gohanson over here.
He's always meditating.
Yeah,
I'm meditating right now.
Yeah, you know what? Don't start on this show. Don't start your meditation. Yes, Luis actually introduced me to Buddhism, and so that's a different form of meditation. And I got introduced to this when you and I started, when we were going through this whole incarceration thing. Life was very hard, and Luis was like, you know what, kids, you may want to try this. And I went with him, and it was like a life-changing experience. And so, I don't do it as much as I know that I could, but I know that when I do, it opens something. Luis, how you feel about it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, also, I should be doing it more, but one of the things that I like about the whole Buddhism and chanting is that, it's not like a religion that if you don't do it, you're going to go to hell and you're going to, spend the rest of your life in like, in a pot of like oil,
Right.
Like burning yourself,
You won't spend the rest of your life in the United States.
No, because it's like Buddhism. It's about real life. It's like sometimes you don't feel like doing it. It deals with the human emotions. It doesn't try to put like anger or all these emotions that are negative, like on a in the back burner. It's like you gotta deal with those.
Right.
And they're human, and it's totally perfect to feel that way. To feel anger, to feel jealousy, any other negative emotions. So that's one of the things that attracted me to Buddhism is that it wasn't a religion. It's more like a philosophy.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Well, we will get into our next segment. Tell us what's.
Hold on, one more thing.
Oh.
He's not done. He ain't done.
So I just gotta add this. Listen, in here, if you're not meditating in here, you really will go crazy because, man, like this meditating saved me so much because these dudes in here is like a handful to deal with, man. I thank you for the meditation.
Well, I thank you, Luis. I thank you, T. I thank you, Mimi, because really it's a collective. I remember the day I went to go get the Gohanson, you guys took me and brought me these pretty flowers that I keep the dried version of those flowers.
I want to say real quick too. T, when I hear that you're doing well and you're doing the work, it really inspires me to do the work out here because I know how hard it is, in there to keep yourself going and stay nerved. So, thank you for that. I'm gonna lean into life, lean into that part of my life of taking care of myself and do better with
And
that.
doing that meditation.
So
It's
thank
hard,
you.
it's not easy, but I will say definitely. But Luis, you ready?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, most definitely.
All
I'm
right.
always ready these days.
You always ready?
Yeah, because I don't have anything else to do.
The
So,
lies
you
he tells to himself.
Very good.
Go ahead and tell us what's up next.
Well, I met Mr. Wayne Smith. That's the name of the next guest. I met him in a recording session, actually on a project that I was doing a while ago with my friend Greg August, who is a great bass player and composer.
Mm-hmm.
And Wayne Smith, he just came to do poetry in one of the songs.
Right.
10 years later, we actually went into the studio to finally record this project. That was-
Wow. 10 years later.
yeah, and that was it. This project was commissioned by the Jazz Gallery in New York City,
Mm-hmm.
and so we went into the studio 10 years later. That was last year, and Wayne also came, to the recording, and he was sitting in the back of the studio, and he's a pretty unassuming person.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw him, I was like, "Hey man, how you doing?" Blah blah blah. So then I start reading about him and talking to him, and I find out that he was a Vietnam veteran, and he was a combat medic. Which at some point we were talking, and I mentioned, "Oh yeah, so you were a medical doctor?" He said, "No, no, no, no. I was a combat medic." And basically, he will go on missions, on search and destroy missions, with a platoon of 25 soldiers, and he was the medic assigned to that platoon.
Wow. So imagine what he must have seen.
Oh yes, so he was in Vietnam for 18 months.
Mm.
He was one of the ones that survived,
Mm-hmm.
and he came to back to the States, and he became an advocate for mental health for veterans.
Wow, that's huge.
And he actually is a nationally recognized mental health therapist.
What?
And he was featured on a Ken Burns 10-part documentary that came out in 2018, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That is called the Vietnam War. He's one of the people that speaks.
Wow,
in this
I can't wait to
documentary.
hear this. I can't wait to hear this.
And when he went to Vietnam, he was 18.
Wow.
And one of the phrases, I was reading this, and one of the phrases that he said that he kept remembering is the first time that he heard "Doctor, don't let me die."
Mm.
And when he came back, like PTSD.
Of course, PTSD.
And that phrase kept ringing in his.
Doctor, don't let me die.
Yes.
Okay. Wayne Smith.
Our guest tonight, Mr. Wayne Smith, is an activist who has been advocating for the abolition of the death penalty in this country, as well as promoting mental health for war veterans. He spent a year and a half in Vietnam as a combat medic and has become a nationally recognized mental health therapist. I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Smith working in a recording with the great bass player Greg August, and we ended up being on the same project together, which is this one that I have here. This is the LP version of Dialogues on Race, Volume 1 by Greg August, and it's also available in CD version. And one of the centerpieces of this work is a composition entitled Letter to America, which is inspired by a poem by Fernando Alarcón. Also in this recording, there is a piece which is an improvisation over the words of Mamie Till. Mamie Till was the mother of Emmett Till, who was a young teenager. He was murdered in the South in 1955 by white supremacists, and this his death was one of the incidents that kind of paved the way for the civil rights movement in the 1960s. Wayne Smith worked also with Mamie Till, trying to abolish the death penalty in this country. And every time that I speak to Wayne Smith, I always have a smile in my face, just because he's so eloquent, the way he speaks, and so peaceful that he kind of commands your attention. And so, yes, I would like to just let Mr. Smith speak, and welcome to the MLK Squad.
Role is really reversed because I can simply listen to you play music and get entranced by it. I don't play an instrument, and I so admire music, and music has been a soundtrack to my life, like so many. But I grew up in Providence, Rhode Island, and just 4 years older than Emmett Till. And as
Wow.
you described Emmett Till, I remember as a child hearing about Emmett Till, but more than him, his mother, Mamie, because here was the mother of a son who was brutally murdered, as you say, and she wanted justice for her son. She wasn't full of hate. She had faith. She cared about children and people. And as you said so well, Louis, she really in, inspired the civil rights movement in a whole different level. And it can be your family and friends and viewers can think of George Floyd, because it was that equivalent, wasn't it? With
Right.
George Floyd, this one man who, ironically, his dying breath was "Mama, Mama," calling for his mother.
Mhm.
So there's something very powerful about mothers, and Mrs. Till, she carried the flame, and as so many women, they're just like our mothers and grandmothers. And I was very privileged to meet Mrs. Till in 1999 and 2000, when even as a very older woman, she was advocating for banning the death penalty.
Wow.
Now,
Okay.
now how deep is that?
Yes. Yes.
So from a son who was murdered by white supremacists, as you say, to being a person still wanting to inspire children and seeking justice and having faith. So just an enormously impressive person. But I joined the military in the height of Vietnam. I didn't want to kill anyone, but I wanted to save life, make a difference. And
Right.
I didn't want to get drafted. And those were the days when everyone was counting the days or the numbers or where you ranked. And it was a horrible time. But I joined the Army, served in Vietnam 18 months as a combat medic. And it was
Oh, wow.
enormously difficult in a way, but it was also a real privilege because I got to know not only Americans, but Vietnamese, and how different Vietnamese saw African Americans and Hispanics and Native Americans. And also in war, there's something about the equality. All of the pretense is stripped away, Louis. So in Vietnam, all that mattered was, are you going to do your duty? Are you going to play your instrument? Are you going to play your part? And so there were white guys who had never, ever met a Hispanic, Native American, Black brother, and there were brothers who had never met them. So in the craziness of war, sadly, is timeless with our species, that we, think about it every century. There's some wars going on somewhere in the world. But music Vietnam was also the musical war. And
Right.
so the music inspired me and so many of us who survived. And I found a way to believe that those of us that survived, that we really had an obligation to give back. We had
Right.
an obligation to live because it was so random. And and I fortunately have tried to do that since returning from Vietnam.
I wanted to ask you, how did you get in contact with Mamie Till and how that started, you know?
Um, Again, it kind of comes back to Vietnam in a way. After many of the veterans who came home, many ended up in prison. Some couldn't turn off the killing, and
Mm-hmm.
one of them was a young man named Manny Babbitt in Providence, Rhode Island. And Manny was a Marine at a place called Khe Sanh. Very severe battle. He was wounded and traumatized, but he came back changed. And long story made short, he was a client of mine. I was doing counseling work after the war. But
Mm-hmm.
Manny was hearing voices, delusional, and his family sent him to California to live with an older brother, hoping that would work, and it didn't, sadly. Manny ended up killing a woman in California, was sent to death row,
Mm-hmm.
even though he was mentally not all there, traumatized by war, and but he killed an elderly woman. And so, being sentenced to death, the governor of California, a Vietnam veteran named Gray Davis, I appealed to Gray Davis. I appealed to the people of California, the parole board, along with many others, to simply commute Manny's death sentence to
Mm-hmm.
life. And maybe life without parole, but to life.
Right.
And Mrs. Till was one of the giant voices at the time, also talking about abolishing the death penalty. So I met her at a conference, and again, this tiny lady, just full of power and grace and beauty, and not a wrinkle on her face, that
Oh, wow.
kind, the eyes were actually met me too, and their
Oh,
jaws
wow.
dropped. It was because, again, that quality she has. Anyone that just, it doesn't even take a look at Google search. Just someone, these mothers, and again, it's mostly women to me who have that motherly instinct, that love, that even if you do wrong or you make mistakes, and it's women are so much more powerful than us. In my view, the dialogues on race is exactly what we need at the right time, because that's what we're doing. Now, some of the dialogue is in the streets and it's arguing, and there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of pain,
Mm-hmm.
but the solution to so many of our problems um, is talking, is connecting, is communicating. And
Right.
one last little point that I'm not just blowing smoke, that
Mm-hmm.
in 1998, I had a chance to return to Vietnam. I was one of 20 American veterans who was invited to go back to Vietnam to ride bicycles with 20 former enemy soldiers, the North
Wow.
Vietnamese Army and Viet Cong. Same people I was trying to kill, and they were trying to kill us. But for peace and reconciliation in 1998, we were invited back, and I went back. And it was so deeply humbling. The Vietnamese people really, really like us, especially people of color.
Wow.
The Vietnamese, maybe it's a Buddhist thing, I can't explain it, but it's like the past is the past. They look at you and I, they wouldn't look at you as related to President Moderna, or you are
Right.
somehow, or they
Right.
wouldn't look at me as like, yeah, okay, I'm a supporter of President Trump. They
Right.
look at us as individuals, and it was humbling to go back to Vietnam. We rode 1,200 miles, 17 days. I still walk a little bit like Cowboy Bob. I can't sit,
Wow.
but So blah blah blah. But my point is that we have an ability. If only we rode bikes together in '67 and had exchange programs, and so that's my. I'm sorry for going on about it, but
No, no, that's fine.
in these times when, and I so appreciate what you're doing, building community and connecting
Hmm.
music and people together, and it's such a privilege. But there are so many great people in this world doing so many great things, and my hope is that we'll continue to do things well together and overcome these challenges.
Right, great. Thank you so much, Wayne. I will love to have you back at some point in the show in the future because you have so many stories and stuff that I want to ask you about, and I really, really will have to would love to have you back. You know.
Well, let me say this: it would be an honor, but also, you can pick up the phone and we can chat one on one too. Because
Right,
it's
we can
it's
do that
it's
too.
indeed, because again, there's a very good friend, a doctor, um, Dr. Luis Ayala, who's from Venezuela, and for years we have talked about the struggles of the Venezuelan people and the prospects for the future. But thank you for that, and
Oh man, thank you
thank
so
you for
much.
having me on. I'm so deeply appreciative. Please give my regards to your wife, and I wish you great success.
I will. Thank you so much, Wayne, and we'll be in touch.
I look forward to it. Thank you,
All
brother.
right, thank you. All right.
I met Mamie in 1999, 2000, when we were working to try to abolish the death penalty in this country. And here's this woman who I'd heard about, read about, of course, but she was just like any of our mothers or grandmothers. I swear, this capacity to forgive, this capacity for justice. I would not have been as generous as she was had my child been killed as hers. And I was deeply moved, as anyone who ever met her. She was an educator. And what you are doing, I obviously cannot speak for her or anyone else, but I have no doubt that the inspiration of what you're doing ripples across time, both to the past, to the present, and in the future. And it's just absolutely beautiful. So I've loved Greg for a long time. I've obviously seen him play with JD and deeply moved by that. But I promise you, this is at a different level. And what you're doing, I'm so humble and appreciative, really, just deeply appreciative.
Well, that was awesome.
That was so good, Louise.
Yeah.
High five.
That was great. That was great. That was great. All right, so I'm trying to get you guys back over here.
I feel really special.
Maybe did you move my setup?
I didn't touch anything.
Because now all my stuff is moved. Okay.
Didn't touch it.
Why you feel special? Tell us.
Because we're getting really great people on the show, and it kind of brings a tear to my eye because you know we're all very special people, and we have it just means so much that we could create a platform where people can come and like tell their story and get inspired and inspire other people. And just thank you guys so much for being here with us each week, whether we start a little late. Sorry about that. It's always a technical difficulty right before, but it
CP
really
time.
means, yeah. Would you say CP time? That's what it is. It need to be technical people time or something. Messed up technical time.
Did anybody hear me? Because my mic was off all this time.
You were miming. It's like, ah, 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 you know. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. That interview was awesome.
Thanks.
You know,
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah, I mean, every time that I speak to Wayne, as I said before, it's always like, wait a minute, you doing what? You know, say, because he's very unassuming. If you don't ask him, like, he won't tell you. He would just sit there and enjoy the music, you know, and just say, hey, great, you know. But then when you start talking to him, and people start telling you about him, say, you know that guy, he did this, did that, and then you ask him, and he said, wow, wait a minute.
And on the record, what did he do?
On the record, on the Greg August record, he recited a poem over one of the songs.
The one that inspired the music.
Yeah, one of the songs that is called "Letter to America."
Oh, okay.
He recited, you know, the lyrics.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you guys so much for being here with us this week. I think we're wrapping it up. We're gonna play one last.
Yeah, we're gonna play one more, but before that, I want to say hello to Justin DiCiocio, who was watching before. I don't know if he's still watching, but Justin was one of the teachers at the Manhattan School of Music when I first came there in 1992, and he also is the responsible for this one, playing the bass. You know, because she was a cellist or half cellist. So Justin kind of made her play the bass. So you know.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you.
And I remember he was the first person when I went to do my audition at Manhattan School of Music. He was the person that met me. You know, like when I walked into the classroom, and I see this guy with like little round glasses, and I was like, "Hey, Louis, how you doing, Louis?" You know. So right away I felt good. You know, it's like, oh, okay, this is gonna be cool. You know? I didn't speak any English at the time.
So you don't even know what he said.
No, but you know, but eventually, I knew that's what he was what he was saying, because he used to say it all the time. You know, hey Louis, how you doing, Louis?
All right.
You know, so.
Well, that's really, really sweet. Also, I noticed that Ethan Mann is watching or was watching. Big shout out to you.
Yeah, Ethan was a guitar player on the first combo that I had at the Manhattan School of Music.
All right, so you needed to tell this story earlier. Now you talk.
I didn't know because
One more shout out.
I just saw that they were watching. You know,
One more shout out for my cousin Mona Lisa. Looking good, kid.
Wait, one for her.
So, all right, that's it. Thank you guys. We're gonna hit this one called Evidence, and it was Thelonious' Monk's birthday this month as well, so we're really happy to do that. And kudos for Terry Lynn Carrington. She got the big Emmy award for jazz.
Yeah, yeah. What is it called again? The Jazz Master.
Jazz Master. Yes.
Cool.
All right, y'all.
Next week. I'll see you next week.
See you next week.